This is Nick.
This is Jack.
And it's Saturday, so we're serving up a little sample of the best idea yet.
This is our second show, which does deep dives on the most viral products of all time.
And today, what do we got, Jack?
Polaroid.
Yeah, it's Polaroid, the camera that brought photography to the world.
Polaroid is the reason that we call photos pictures. Polaroid democratized photography.
Honestly, no Polaroid, no Instagram.
So sit back, relax, and enjoy this sample of the best idea yet.
And then you got to make sure to subscribe to the show so you can listen to the rest of the episode, because the rest of the episode, it is wild.
We got a link in the show notes so you can do that.
So here it is, the best idea yet.
Jack, set the scene for us, man. Land holds a prototype in his hands, a Deerdorf camera. The kind with that accordion-looking thing around the lens, but its back has been modified to hold a roll of film negative, a roll of photo paper, and a set of motorized rollers inside. It looks like Land is about to take the audience's picture, but instead, he turns the lens on himself and clicks. It's like the OG selfie, and Land, he just pulled it off on stage in front of everybody. And then he announces to the crowd, 50 seconds. And they wait. Now, Yetis, while we are all waiting anxiously to find out what happens in 50 seconds, Jack and I are going to tell you about what's actually happening here, because we are about to go full Bill Nye on this selfie. When Land pressed that shutter, it created a film negative image inside the camera. Only this film negative uses paper with an opaque back, so daylight can't spoil it. This special negative then gets pressed into a sheet of glossy photo paper. Sandwiched in between these two sheets is a foil pod full of chemical developer. This paper sandwich gets fed through the camera's motorized rollers, which sort of squeegees the developer goo evenly between the negative and the photo paper. I believe goo is the technical term, by the way, Jack. And 50 seconds later, Land peels the negative backing away, and there before the crowd is an 8x10 photo of his face. That's right, Land just made his own headshot in real time for an entire audience, and honestly, he looks fantastic in the photo. Well, he's very stern. I don't know why people didn't smile back then. Yeah, he's not smiling, but he did just pull off photography history. It's the first ever instantly developed photograph. No darkroom needed. And the crowd knows it. They are dazzled. Especially those reporters and photographers who know how transformative instant photography could be for their jobs. Because imagine reporting back from assignment as a journalist with fully developed pictures covering wars, protests, natural disasters without having to scramble for a darkroom in between. This could revolutionize the speed at which the public gets its news. This is, of course, why Land invited these reporters to the event in the first place. Very strategic. Well, the next day, the pictures of Land and his self-portrait grace the pages of the New York Times and papers around the country. The Monday after that, it's the picture of the week in Life magazine. Instant photography was thought to be impossible, but suddenly it's here, just the way his 3-year-old envisioned it. We should point out it's the prototype that's here, because now Polaroid's got to get this thing to market. Nick, that selfie that Land took, it was a stunt. Today you got like Mr. Beast burying himself alive and that gets all the attention. Yeah. Back then, he took a picture of himself. That was wild! In front of people who had no idea this thing could even work. So after that insane stunt, Polaroid spends more than a year working out production details of this new camera. It's now 1948, and they're on the clock to crank out their new self-developing film and their brand new camera at scale. Now, Yetis, building cameras, that has been challenging enough. But each camera will need packs of specialized film too, and Polaroid is struggling. So Edwin Land turns to a surprising partner, Polaroid's arch rival, Kodak. Yes, for most of their existence, Cambridge, Massachusetts-based Polaroid and Rochester, New York-based Kodak, they have been major competitors. Like if you're crossing that Massachusetts border on I-90, don't even think about continuing on to Rochester. We're talking about the Coke and Pepsi of photography. Yeah. The Nicki Minaj and Cardi B of cameras. Jack, finding out Kodak made Polaroid film is like hearing that Abercrombie hired J. Crew to stitch their cargo shorts. But Kodak and Polaroid actually go way back. Kodak gave Land his very first commercial contract for $5,000 to make polarizer for one of Kodak's cameras.
All right, so Jack, we can basically say Kodak and Polaroid are old acquaintances. But now Polaroid is getting into the camera game, and that is Kodak's turf. So it seems like Kodak should see Polaroid as a threat, right?
But they don't. Kodak sees the new Polaroid as a novelty item, almost a toy, really.
Yeah.
It's the easy bake oven of cameras.
Kodak evaluates this new Polaroid thingamajig product and basically says, you know what? They're JV. Yeah, let them play. Whatever.
But also, like an easy bake oven, a Polaroid is easy to use.
True.
Which means it attracts new customers to the photography sector.
It's actually what Jack and I call a gateway product, or really a gateway goodie. A product that increases the ease of use and expands the potential user base from experts to anybody.
So a Polaroid camera will widen the customer funnel from shutterbugs to the shutterbug curious. And that means more customers for Kodak in the future. And the Kodak management team actually articulates this in a telegram to their sales force. Anything that is good for photography is good for Kodak. So Kodak agrees to help produce Polaroid film. And finally, in November 1948, almost 2 years after the convention in New York, Polaroid's first instant camera is finally ready to go to market. They drop the SX70 codename, and it hits the shelves as the Model 95 land camera.
Now, Jack, I am looking at this first ever commercially available Polaroid camera, and honestly, it's different from the Polaroid you'd see today. You know, it's got a lot of little nooks, crannies, and whistles on this
more
thing.
complex.
Yeah, it is. For starters, the instant part, yeah, that's relative. You gotta wait at least a minute between shots because the developing picture stays housed in the back of the camera until it's ready. Oh, and then, Jack, we should also point out there are these different tabs you gotta pull. Like, you have to peel the sticky backing off at just the right time. You add it all up, and this ain't today's Polaroid party camera.
It's V1.
It is.
Land knows he's going to be tinkering for years to come. But it's still a revolutionary invention. For its release day, Polaroid makes the most capitalist move ever, the day after Thanksgiving. Black Friday, 1948. That's when this first instant camera hits the market.
The price tag, Jack?
$89.75, or a little over $1,000 in today's money.
Still cheaper than the Apple Vision Pro.
The camera debuts at the Jordan Marsh department store in Boston, and it sells out in a single day.
In fact, sales of this Model 95 Polaroid camera hit $5 million in their first year, which is more than $65 million in today's dollars.
The public hunger for this product shocks even Edwin Land. His most optimistic projection was that they might sell 50,000 units total ever. Instead, over the next 8 years, they sell 1 million of these cameras.
Okay, so he was off by about 20x. No big deal. May want to talk to the production guy.
It's a runaway hit that will drive the company's power and Edwin Land's status as a genius.
Here's the thing, Yetis. Edwin himself, he's still not satisfied. Not by a long shot. Remember, this guy once wore the same clothes for 18 days straight. So he's thinking of what Polaroid could be if he and his engineers keep on pushing. There it is, besties. The free sample of our wild episode on the Polaroid.
The best part, you can listen to the rest of the episode also free.
Which you got to do because there's a lot more there and you're going to love when you get to the end of this thing.
So subscribe to The Best Idea Yet wherever you get your pods to listen free.
And as always, Jack and I are thinking of you. We dropped a link in today's episode description to make it easy for you.
New episodes of the show drop every Tuesday. They're 45 minutes each. It's the untold origin stories of the products you're obsessed with.
Jack and I will be back on Monday with our usual daily show. So celebrate the wins and we'll see you there.